Well, we have several kinds of honey. We have wild honey. Wild honey is a byproduct of relocating honeybees. So we go places where there's a beehive that's unwanted, we cut it out of the wall and we take it to a place where it's wanted. In the process, we get about 20 pounds of honey per beehive there. It's put into a solar melter, melted down. The entirety of what was in the honeycomb, minus the beeswax, is now in what we call wild honey. So it's honey how bees intended honey to taste. I believe that. Then we have our co-op honey. Now, our co-op honey, we raise bees in multiple places with multiple partners. So in this room, there's a bottle of almost clear honey. That's from the Circuit of the Americas racetrack, where at the time it was made, we had, I think, right around 435 beehives. Over there I see a black honey, which is from a sorghum field. So that's Navasota, Texas. We have an African honey on our shelves, where we have a co-op with a group of African guys in the South Sudan that's how they survive a civil war, basically, is by us importing their honey, etc. So we have a co-op partner in Georgia right now. He not only helps raise queens, but also his bees are not fed, and he chases organic nectar. He's a pretty good old guy. That's Gardner Aperies. And so our co-op honey that we raise, instead of feeding corn syrup, we feed a mixture of cold fruit, apples, pears, berries, sugar, water, and then basically macerated so they have like a fruit smoothie. So our local co-op honey, when we have it in stock, tastes like jelly or jam in the first tasting of it. The one that says the rocking G on it, that taste of jam when you first taste it. And that's because the first thing that you taste is what the bees actually ate, and they ate fruit, so to you it tastes like jelly or jam. And then the African honey, it tastes like red dirt to me, because again, real honey, wild honey, is supposed to taste about like what it would taste like within 50 miles of where the bees were at. And so I'm assuming, although I've never been to the South Sudan, but I'm assuming that it's very much like East Texas with all the red dirt and the overgrown stuff. So probably instead of overgrown oaks and pecans and stuff like they have in East Texas, they have overgrown neem trees and tea trees and freaky ass African trees that I'd love to go see and climb. That'd be cool too. So yeah, so that's the difference. We feed our stuff differently. We care for the bees differently. And our head apiarist, Rick Fink, is a minimalist. So he believes that the bees should be able to be placed in places where there's enough food naturally to carry them over. Now, I believe that, to keep bees happy, you have to modify, and in times of dearth, give them food, which is where we start feeding them. So, yeah, ours, we raise it a little bit different. Instead of, because our affiliation with places like Central Market, where they'll give us barrels of cold apples and cold pears, then we're allowed to do that, because most people aren't allowed to do that because they can't afford to buy the apples and pears. So, or the labor to make the mixture of food. But we also believe our bees are much healthier than most people's bees. So, probably what they eat.